G'day everyone, I'm Ben from Catch Pro Australia, and this is Lawn Care Skull Sessions, the most unprofessional podcast in the world. Joining me is my co-host, the Bearded Lawnsman from TBL Property Maintenance. How you going, brother?
Good, man. How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too good, actually, really.
You're a liar. Pants on fire.
Having some health issues this week, eh?
No good, mate.
I've got like a kink in my back, or I just, and it's sending stuff up through my neck and giving me migraines. And then I just don't feel that well either.
Yeah, you were saying you feel hungover or bloody...
Yeah, I get like this every now and then, and I don't know if it's like, me diet or having heaps of lung busters or whatever, but I'm hoping to get over it soon.
I mean, they're probably all contributing factors.
I'm going to quit smoking this year, by the way.
Oh, yeah? Good.
Yeah.
I hope you do. That'd be good.
It's all about, I don't have any willpower.
Yeah, neither do I. I don't. That's why I'm fat. So that's my... I hate the whole New Year's resolution thing. Like, I've decided, like, well, my dick's getting smaller and I'm getting wider, so it's time to do something about it. So today, if I start talking shit, it's because I'm absolutely peaking on fucking mountains of caffeine, and I got me low fat, no sugar iced latte here. It's fucking awful, by the way.
You know what I hate about this health stuff, right? Because I've always been a big coffee drinker. Obviously, I am a smoker.
Yeah. And
like people all around me are always like, oh, fucking have a look at, this dude, rah, rah, and I'm thinking like, there's people out there who like abuse Valium, take fucking, I mean, it's not like any direct people that I know are smoking ice, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like back when we were younger.
Yeah, dude. People were on the twirly bird. We came up in the period where ice was just starting to become like a thing. There's
one dude, you know him, but he's a really cool, successful bloke. He's like, man, I was smoking ice before ice was cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
tons of people.
And he's not a grub or nothing.
No. No, it just became a new thing. No, it's hard, man. Like,
but anyway, my point was, sorry to cut you off. Like, I have these health issues.
Yeah.
And these other dudes are just living this mad life. Like, no,
Yeah.
I don't drink piss. I don't, smoke weed. I don't take any prescription drugs.
Yeah. No, well, see, that's the thing. Like, I fucking...
And I got grey hair and my nose is pointy.
Coffee is my vice. Coffee and food. And fuck me. Like, I have been bigger than this before, which was pretty messed up. I dropped 40 kilos at one stage.
Holy moly.
44 kilos, yeah, before we went to Thailand the first time.
That's half my body weight.
I know, see, that's the thing. Like, right now, I'm like 2.5 of you, probably. I reckon I'd be up around the 138-ish, something like that.
Yeah, no, that's not even two of me, mate.
Oh, okay. But, it's crazy. But I need to take steps to fix it, because, fuck... I got to try and get as many years out of this old rig as I can.
All right, so on to business. Hopefully everyone's getting, well and truly in the swing of things, business-wise.
Yeah. Dude, it's been fucking crazy. Like, I went and quoted another village yesterday. Yesterday was, just a run around quoting and...
Well, I have now mowed my lawn and paddock 3 times this week. Literally after 2 days, it just looks like shit.
Bro, I haven't mowed my house since just after Christmas.
Get away from this table. Get away from this table.
Fuck, I don't get paid to do my lawn, so if I have a choice,
you think some motherfucker's paying me to mow my lawn?
I don't know. It's your you get jizzies out of it or something. To mow your lawn 3 weeks, you must be getting like at least a half a boner out of it.
It's what's this 3 weeks? I probably mowed it 20 times in 3 weeks.
Three times a week. Fuck, imagine that.
It just keeps it looking nice, mate, eh?
It does look nice, I'll give you that. But mine doesn't grow. I got fucking native buff out the front, so she's not growing out of control. We haven't had a lot of rain.
Mine's on fucking roids or something, eh?
Yeah, we haven't had a ton of rain, so we're all good. Around the pool's a bit gross, but you know what? If I have the choice, go for a swim, mow the bastard, and I'm gonna swim.
Yeah.
Get me bikini on.
Something to point out, a good mate of ours, Will from Rosebud.
Oh my God.
Down in Melbourne.
Tried to have him on the podcast twice.
Yeah. Me and him did a silent podcast. Anyways, he's come out with a new online store called Moa Merch.
Yes.
Something really cool. He's got a save the date planned.
Oh, yes.
It's going to launch, it was like yesterday's date, so that must be, as you're listening to this, this is going to be a little outdated, but about 17th of Feb?
Yep.
Or 10th of Feb, maybe.
I think he said 10th.
I think he said 10th, so it's not a month away.
Double check.
Anyway, there's going to be awesome things in there for LMCA.
Yeah.
All your filter kits, there'll be servicing kits. I believe he's going to run a 20% code for
LMCA for an introductory code.
Yeah, so that's something really cool. He is in this for the contractor market.
Yeah.
So we're not going to throw any other businesses under the bus, but there's a couple of major online suppliers which have really cooked it fucking hard.
There's some not so major ones that are really fucked it up big time.
Yeah, and we're not talking about Catch Pro, all right?
Nah, fuck, Catch Pro did all right, eh?
But he's gonna be obviously we're doing like your niche, and accessories. He's doing like your everyday consumables.
So
along with some cool shit like merchandise and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, his merch he sent to me, a screenshot or something. I'm like, fuck yeah, give us a singlet. Give us a singlet, Will.
I'm gonna give everyone a heads up. He's doing men's undies. I swear.
Can he pack the front?
So I haven't seen him. Well, maybe I have. I can't remember. But
do you need a model, Will? Wait until I slim down a bit.
Yeah. Anyway, that's something really awesome to look forward to. Make sure you follow Will from Rosebud. Make sure you get amongst what he's doing, because he's going to have shit for all brands.
Yeah. And he knows his shit. Like,
oh, dude,
he's my go-to. Like, anything, bibbies, fucking backpack blowers, Will, and he's good, man. Like, even with all my skag stuff, he knows all the part numbers off by heart. So
Will is one of those dudes where, like, him and myself are very similar in the sense, like, he's got a successful mechanic and mower store, and he's like, I remember I talked to him and I was like, oh, what do you see yourself doing in a couple of years? And he's like I want to do something more than just run this store. So he's got a lot of goals, and he put, I know how much work the back end is.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's going to guarantee shipping times.
Oh, really?
So
wow.
He's not going to allow you to purchase a part that he doesn't actually have in stock, or that he can't get within a 24-hour time frame.
Now, that's been huge on some of the other sites that have let people down. Because
it's really fucking appalling, to be honest. But
people are waiting like fucking 5 and 6 weeks. When you're a contractor, you need that part.
And you can't, like, we don't guarantee shipping.
No.
Now, we get props because we just pack orders as they come in constantly. Yeah. And
if you don't have something, you guys normally do a pre-order.
If we don't have something, because obviously we don't stock everything.
Yeah.
But if we have an issue, we usually try and reach out to that person straight away, give them the option, hey, do you want to leave this order here, or we'll just cancel the order, refund you.
Communication is key. And Will has no problem with communication. Like, the videos he's put up on LMCA and stuff sort of show that. He's a good speaker. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting. Hopefully we can actually get him on, because his dad lives up here now. So hopefully he has a trip up here soon, and neither of us have sick kids or fucking COVID or
Yeah, true
any other bullshit to stop us from having him in studio for cuddles.
Yeah, for sure. So keep an eye out for that. Now, we decided to run like a little Q&A for today's episode. And it's essentially like a ask us anything.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be industry related. I wouldn't say that the thread got as much traction as what I thought it might.
Nah, maybe it's because we're too open on these fucking podcasts.
Look, could be. I was actually expecting a few more personal questions.
Yeah, me too.
We were only gonna really. There's a bit of banter in here.
Yeah.
We're just gonna skip past most of the banter.
Yeah.
Except I will say to Mick Carroll, realistically, in regards to your question, I'd probably just call up my brother and sister as well and just be like, "We come join the party."
Yeah. I don't know my dad, so I'd let him give it all to me. I'd just back right up. It's just a stranger.
So, without further ado, we can get straight into some of these questions.
Off the bat, we got Uncle Anthony Hahn from Western Australia asking Ben a question. He said, for Ben, regarding the Catch Pro website, what has been the hardest learning curve running an e-commerce business? What things have you learned compared to the service style business that you came from before? Thanks, Anthony.
Good question, Anthony. So, I would suggest some of the biggest challenges, really there is so many, but something that comes straight off the bat is being able to gauge your market in terms of quantities.
Yep.
So, if we do a run of 100 Catch Pros, it's, like thousands upon thousands of, tens of thousands of dollars, really.
Yeah.
So what has always been a struggle is, because I've cooked it so many times.
Yeah. Either too many or most of the times too short.
So realistically, in our existence, I have always been too short.
Okay.
Always. Something else that's really tricky is a lot of the Ballard stuff, because we don't bring it in high volumes.
Yeah. It's not like you can be like, well, you fucking get it on a truck up here now.
No. So advanced chute systems, T-racks, a lot of those things that we bring in, sometimes something might sit on the shelf for 6 weeks. Other times we sell everything before it lands. And it's, so that has probably, it's only one of many of real challenges that we face. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. Now, we have a question for BJ from Mr. Admin, Jared Summer.
Oh, g'day, Jared. What do you want to know?
So, this is a question for BJ. Now that your business is seeing healthy or regular growth, do you think the sky is the limit? Can you see yourself running a 10-employee and building an empire?
Yes, the sky is the limit. No, I don't want it. Realistically, this business for me is like a half lifestyle, half, make as much as I can kind of business. I feel like maybe if I get another crew, so if I've got, and again, this depends on the work, because when you have people that are stationed at sites, so I've got one site where a guy just goes there every day. He's no trouble. He has everything there. I go and check in on him once a week and he's sweet. And then, I've got the other 2 guys that I have to do scheduling for and things like that. So, if I had more of the sites where I just send a crew to all week, then I can handle a lot more than if I've got to schedule all these boys all the time. And then with rain days and shit like that, then things get...
Piggyback question, would you have gotten that smartwatch 5 years earlier?
No. You know what? I said that I was a little bit hefty at the start of the episode. Every time I sort of sit down, this smartwatch kind of tells me to get up and start moving.
I fucking hate that.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
The other day I went over to Coochie Mudlow.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't been there since I was like a boy.
Yeah, we were actually looking
now
at
I
that
know
the other
why. It was kind of cool, but the weather was fucked anyway. I'm like, we got off the boat, spent a bit of time, and then we randomly were like, oh, the boat's here, let's just fucking get on this one. So I started picking up a bit of pace, and my watch is straight away like, oh, Ben, looks like you're exercising. And I'm thinking like, just all that stuff.
Get fucked, I'm not walking on water, you piece of shit. No, but I do think like I would love to have more people, because I genuinely love having staff. Like my whole, sort of mantra has been to like get people to look after. So I've had so many shitty jobs in the past.
When you get to our age, it's not like you really have a life. So your employees,
exactly.
like I had said it before, like when I used to go to the village, I'd be like, fuck yeah, the boys, eh?
Yeah.
And I don't think that is something that I would teach anyone.
Yeah.
Because it was a major double-edged sword. Like I'd want to catch up with the boys, eh? And then it'd be like, fuck, we got to do some work, eh? And then it leads to bad.
It does, yeah. I didn't have to work this morning before I came here, but I had to. I didn't have to, but I went and saw the boys, worked with them for an hour and a half. I came here because we had like a little bit of time in the middle, and then I'm going out to do some other stuff. But
can I just ask you a little sidebar, piggyback question?
Yeah, okay.
Do you be gay to your workers?
Do I be gay? Yes, all the time.
I just miss being around Rusty, eh?
Yeah. I mean, not to that extent.
Okay.
I don't physically touch them.
Oh, okay.
No, I just blow them kisses and haunt their dreams.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, no, I do send them loves and kisses and hugs and smoochies all the time.
So you don't like hold them down and do
No, I don't hold them down. I got one guy who's particularly, I don't think he's homophobic. He just got brought up where...
Oh, they're the best. Is that Rusty?
No.
Oh.
New dude. So he's only young too. So
isn't he pretty little?
Yeah, he's little.
So you could pin him. You could really pin him down.
Yeah, I could probably bash him before he, hulked out on me. But no, it's I don't know.
It's not really appropriate, is it?
No, it's not appropriate, but kind of gets the point across. Who's boss? No. Domination station.
Moving on.
So Jared also asked you a question. He said, if you could go back 5 years before Catch Pro was a thing, what's the one biggest thing you would change?
Well, Jared, realistically, Catch Pro was kind of a thing 5 years ago. Now, it might not have been a thing in the market, but we were basically, I believe coming up to this year, we already had drawings of the Catch Pro.
Yeah.
So, but realistically, to answer the question, if I could go back 5 years, I probably wouldn't have stalled.
Yeah.
We got things up and running pretty quickly, but look, if I just knowing what I know now with my health and everything, there's definitely things I would have changed. I wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have looked for distribution within Australia. I would have, got the Catch Pro website. I would have secured some of the major contracts that we do have a little earlier, like Equipment Defender.
Yep.
And
it comes down to money though, doesn't it? Cash flow.
It obviously does, but I do think if I hadn't have stalled, I ran Greenscape Solutions full time for a long time.
Wow.
Whilst having, and we only sold the Catch Pro on Gumtree and direct to dealers. Yeah. We did some eBay stuff, but I think what I would have done was hit the social media much sooner and harder. But it's all hindsight. I had to go through some of those baby steps and, sometimes go 2 steps backward really before I could make any leap forward.
Yeah.
So, that I think that's probably, some of those things that I would have changed. If we went back 10 years, obviously I would have probably tried to push some of the concepts much earlier in life.
Like standards and things like that.
Standards, that's been a huge one. Yeah. Everything else that goes along with products and accessories and becoming more efficient, etc.
Do you remember probably maybe like 6 years ago, we still spoke on the phone most days, and we're like, oh man, I wish we could do something together. Always, like not Catch Pro wise, but in the mowing game, like we're always like, fuck, I wish there was enough money to jump into bed together. But we just never.
Well, we might get there soon with some of these questions. Yeah. So Andy has asked, how do we go about getting us all to adopt the approach lots of US guys have regarding seasonal contracts for all clients? Surely this would lift our industry status, secure better employment for our staff, and give us more confidence and sustainability of business in our industry, and what would need to make the market competitive of service instead of price of these contracts. So, Andy, look, I would probably suggest in regards to this, like I kind of messed with some of this stuff when I was still doing greenscapes, in the sense that a few years ago, maybe half a decade, we were entering a cycle, like we were coming off the back of a pretty bad drought, years prior. And so if you were doing body corporate works, let's just go back 20 years, then everything was like 2 weekly in summer, 4 weekly in winter. Then a few years after that, the norm especially in Brisbane, I can't speak for other markets, but everything was pushed to like 12 visits a year.
Yeah.
Because there was the drought was bad.
Yeah, it was
bad. It was so bad that we used to make jokes like you can't fucking have ice cubes in your drink on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That's how bad the drought was.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up.
So it took a long time to, once the weather cycle started changing, we still offered a 4 weekly service for some customers. But what I tried to do, and it was very successful, was I tried to say, look, instead of the monthly visits, can I give you a lower unit price, and I just want to visit every fortnight?
Yeah.
And that really regulated my business. You do have to have a lot of discipline, because in the summertime you kind of do run hard, in the sense that you may not be earning so much per job, but in the winter time you've really got a price locked in.
Yeah.
Where you can and when I say you got to be disciplined, is you have to be you can't just rock up to a job and be like, fuck yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
You really have to be proactive and, give the client some incentive for you to be there. I don't think that there is, I don't know that there is a lot of positivity in lifting the whole industry. I'm a little bit...
Me too.
We have other people like Luke Smith, who I believe is an entrepreneur, who is leading the charge against lifting our industry. And I think it's okay for people that are credible.
Yeah.
But I don't love the idea of lifting the whole industry for everyone across the board.
No.
I say let's lift it for the people who are capable.
Yeah.
And so what my advice to you would be is just focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Fuck the rest of the industry.
That's exactly
And
right.
it's not to say that if you see another contractor, that you can be mates with everyone, rada.
Yeah.
Lift the people around you if you want.
Yeah. Well, I think we said it in a podcast, like the people you hang around is where you're going to find your financial balance. So like you just keep leveling up, and hopefully they do as well. That's all you can hope for. But I totally agree with you. I think this is a great...
Oh my gosh.
I think this is a great industry where people can come in with, you know, minimal experience. They've just got the basics, and then they can start a business that goes from zero to fucking hero.
Yeah.
I don't think that people that have, you know, the basics should be able to charge the same price as someone like me who is running around with $150,000 worth of shit. I just think, like...
And it's no diss.
No, it's not a diss.
I saw a bloke, I think they posted just yesterday, I know this episode's coming out a couple of days later, but he'd only started in 2022. He had some sort of hatchback and he just had gear and everything everywhere.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, this dude was stoked. He's like, you know, hey, I'm stoked. This is all I've got. Rudder. It's no diss. Like, I love seeing that.
Fuck yeah,
I was that dude.
Yeah, that's it. That's where most of us started. Unless you buy into, say, a franchise or something like that, or you have the capital to jump straight into, you know, big time commercial gear.
And realistically, even, I know we're spending a lot of time on this one, but even if you look at it from a different angle with us and Catch Pro, you know, I'm sure that there's huge businesses everywhere. If they came, you know, to the Catch Pro warehouse, right, which is my family home,
we're looking at it.
They would fucking laugh their asses off. You know, like, we don't have a fork, we don't have proper warehousing,
we don't have a pallet jack.
You know, all of these things. They would, and you know, obviously, that keeps all of our overheads down.
Yeah.
So the Catch Pro doesn't have to cost $2,000. We can have it at the price that we do have it and keep it there because we don't have all of these extra overheads. So, you know, if we did have a warehouse, and, you know, like, look, let's face it, costs are going to go up.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to be able to marry in those costs to your retail pricing.
Yeah,
so,
and don't get me wrong, like, I'm not discouraging anyone to fucking aim high. Like, if you can walk into the market and get $100 an hour, like 120, 150, whatever, go for it.
That's
but
what
I'm
I
just
mean.
saying, like, I don't think there should be some sort of regulated body that says this is, you know, what's fucked up is the NDIS. So I have a lot of experience with the NDIS with my daughter, not through work, but they put out a price guide. Now, if that's something that happens in our industry, I think it'll be a good thing and a bad thing in the same respect, because the good thing is, like, you know, everyone will be charging the same. The bad thing is, you know, the fucking quality of work will not be the same. Like, they just brought out a new price guide. Occupational therapists, if anyone has kids, fucking tell them to become an occupational therapist. There's companies charging $249 an hour for an occupational therapist. One of our friends had a phone call, and the person wasn't even in-house, and they got charged $240 something for a fucking phone call, like, for less than an hour. So that's a good industry to be in. But yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to diss anyone who is entering the industry. I just don't think that it's you know, fair on people who sort of started at the bottom and went to the top.
If you go through like a gym's franchise, you have to do a certain amount of training, learning the business, and doing all sorts of things, and that's how they're able to be like, okay,
it's like paying for the privilege of
but that's how they're able to be like, okay, so this is our minimum charge, it's, you know, X amount of dollars.
Yeah.
I think in an industry where you can literally pick up a whippersnipper, a mower and blower and be like, fuck yeah, I'm a mower man, I think it's always going to make it difficult to regulate. And I think no matter what, there is that lifestyle.
fuck yeah.
Just quickly, last thing I'm going to say on this, I moved into this house last year, and there's a few handyman things to be done, but, you know, doing a few little renos here and there. And I got a bloke in to quote me for some backstairs.
Yeah.
Proper chippy, big business, rah, rah. He looked at it and he goes, yeah, you're looking at about $8,000. Now, my old man has a friend he went to school with, qualified chippy, but just works part-time, cash only. Very, very good craftsmanship. Walked in and said, mate, I'd get you this sorted for $6,000. And, you know, we talk about the lawn mowing industry and like, oh, fucking go for the cheaper price and see what you get, rah, rah. And it's not that. There is a lifestyle element.
Yeah.
So this dude that comes, you know, he's probably in his mid-60s.
Yep.
He works in pluggers. He won't rock up until, you know, you wouldn't see him anywhere before 8:30. He goes away and has his smoko.
Yep.
And he will tools down at 3 o'clock.
Yep.
So for some people, that's like, because it is hard for me to watch some of that go on.
Yeah.
But when you're saving that amount of money overall, it's no different to our
not on hourly.
No.
If it was on hourly, that'd be a bit different. But yeah, I know it's frustrating watching someone not work.
Yeah, so
to their full potential.
So look, I just don't think it's that different to our industry. Is you're always going to have that lifestyle element where some people are doing it just to work 3 days a week, and maybe they don't want to work past 1 o'clock. Where you got the serious guys like BJ who is, look, motherfucker, I'm not going anywhere for less than $90.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we got our good mate Rubes.
So he's asking you something. So he said, okay, this one is probably a bit more for Ben as he's starting his mowing business back in the olden days when a sickle was what they used for a whip. It's a bit offensive. So if you were starting up a mowing business tomorrow from scratch, knowing what you guys know now, what would be your setup? So trailer, vehicle, bits and pieces.
Try not to pretend that you don't have any affiliations with brands. What would you guys go with? All right, so BJ, we could probably answer this together. In terms of branding, honestly, knowing what I know, it's sort of like knowing what you know now, but keeping the affiliations out of it.
Yeah.
So everything that I know now, I believe I would have a full battery setup with full charging stations on the road, everything. I think I can honestly answer that question. In terms of branding, I honestly believe if I had to stay completely like out of all the branding shit, I would probably have just gone through my local dealer. I think that's probably, realistically, if I was going to start up a business, that's probably where I'd end up.
I saw your local dealer is no more down in Manly.
Oh, he ain't my fucking local dealer.
Well, he was, wasn't he? Back in the day.
10 years ago.
It's fucking rubble now.
Yeah, I got all my first gear from him.
Yeah.
So, but no, look, I think I would have a battery set up. I think that is the smartest move to make in today's world. In terms of a trailer, I definitely would have one that can accommodate growth.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I rebuilt my trailer like 3 times to account for when my business was going through growth spurts.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can only do what you can do financially at the time. So maybe, but let's say I had a fucking open budget and I was going to start up a business. My main aim would be acreage and straight up villages.
Yeah.
What I would have loved to, if I didn't start Catch Pro, ultimately my goal would have been to pick up the biggest site that I could possibly pick up, or a chain of villages.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Like I felt with my organization skills, my ability to teach contractors, I actually felt like I could maintain like fucking 200 acres of land.
Yeah.
So my goal would have been to look. I don't think we would have got into council.
I don't think I would say I don't think the money's there. I think like there's.
Well, so funny you say that, because I had a look, right, and I believe you're looking at. I think it's less than 1 cent per square meter is like what people are charging.
It depends. I have recently heard 2 to 3 cents per square meter.
Oh man, 2 to 3 cents is fucking gold.
If that's good, then.
And you hear this, right, and you think like, oh geez, fuck. Yeah. But if you look at the volumes that they're mowing, it works out.
Yeah.
It really works out. So to answer your question, Rubes, I think I would probably be running battery setups, and be able to charge on the road, and I believe I would be focusing my business on the biggest works that I could possibly get.
Yep.
Not necessarily running like say 20, 30 people. It would depend on whatever contract I could secure.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see myself not just running an ordinary mowing business.
No. So if same question at me, I would probably stop and think about a niche before I even thought about any of the gear. I probably would, same as Ben, target acreage. I'd probably target the bigger villages. The smaller ones I do enjoy, but I probably would rather do the big ones. My setup, I would probably get. I'd probably get 2 trucks, 2 small trucks like I've got now with same sort of battery setup as Ben's been speaking about. I'd always keep a petrol multi on board with a few attachments. Look, to be honest, I'd probably run the same gear that I am now. I don't know. It's all relative to what I've learnt, and what I've learnt is basically like the Skag brand is what I love. If it's knowledge that I did my due diligence before I bought my Skag stuff, so yeah, I guess I'd probably still have the Skag products. Same with like what I've got on all my rigs. I've basically got a different set of battery stuff on every single rig, so yeah, I'm a bit of a slut when it comes to battery stuff, but eventually I'll pick one and I'll stay with it.
Yeah, good question, Rubes. Now, Sam Gunn says, if you had to start from scratch with the knowledge that you do have now, what would you do? This doesn't have to be mowing. Let's start with you, Beej.
I would probably build a side bagger for 0-turn mowers. I probably wouldn't change too much. I fucked up the first couple of years. I've got no qualms about saying that I fucked up bad. But
so you would still be in the mowing game?
Yep.
You wouldn't be like a fucking Skag rep or bring out like a 32.
Look, to be honest,
bring out like a 32 stand on before anyone did.
Realistically, if that was, I never would have really known about that without mowing. So
no. But hey, if you had to start from scratch with the knowledge that you have now. When you started, there was no 32 style. There might have been a fixed deck, right? The sky's the limit here with this.
Okay.
What would you have done, man?
Oh shit!
It's like when I know me and my mates growing up, we'd watch these old like surf movies or skate movies, and be like, imagine if you just went back to like 1986 and just did a fucking kickflip. You know what I mean?
People would just be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. So this is that type of question, bro.
Jeez, man.
And I know, obviously, we're on the spot. I don't know what I would necessarily do, but for me...
Would you do porn?
No.
Me neither.
No, look, for me, I believe I'm in the right industry. I think it would always be industry related.
Look, I fucked up. I spent 11 years of my life working for a fucking company that were dogs to me, and I had no idea because I was working so hard that I didn't, like, social media wasn't a thing.
Yeah, but it's not, I don't think it's I don't know. I don't know if you're being fair to yourself by saying, is it a fuck up? You know, because you have to take those stages as a person to realise what is out there.
Yeah.
There is so many people in the world that are living a content lifestyle, whether it be who they married, what their job goals are, or what their day-to-day life is. There's so many people are living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And sometimes for some of them, it might be a matter of like, the changes that you made, people are making in their 50s and 60s.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know.
Look, to be honest, I probably would still be in the industry. I think if I got in earlier, I'd be in a way better position now. Because, there's been a lot of...
I tell you what, Sam, knowing what I know now, like I said, I'd probably still be in the industry, but what I think I would have done is I would have concentrated a lot more on the American market. We've heard stories out there, whoever it was that came up with the speed feed head.
Yeah.
They had an idea, and so we're talking, this goes beyond Ballard products, this goes, beyond all that stuff, right? They came up with this thing, and I think eventually Echo USA picked it up.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, from that one thing, this dude is like a fucking gazillionaire.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I think not only would I have probably tried harder to hit the American market, because I only got 2 products in the American market, right?
Yeah.
But I think I probably would have maybe tried some sort of development of Australian-made products for our market, which I believe are probably impossible right now. I had a dream half a decade ago to build Australia's first stand-on mower.
Yeah.
And there is just no, you can do it, but there is no way to get that thing to market.
You could probably build one and then have it just sit there for a while until the price of manufacturing actually becomes realistic in Australia.
But, back then, let's say when Cox Mowers was still up and running, or whatever the case is, before there was, just a lot has changed in half a decade. And, we think, LMCA has been around for 4 years?
Yeah, I'd say about 4.
Yeah. And you just think how much stuff has changed just in that 4-year period. So
I've got no idea, man. I honestly, this industry now, I'm not going to say it consumes my life, but I don't have other hobbies like podcasts, social media, fucking talking shit on LMCA, talking to other contractors. This is my thing. I just don't know what I would do.
No matter what, I know, knowing what I know now, the way that the market changed with real estate and inflation in general, no matter what I think my answer would be, it would be to chase money way harder than what I have in the past.
I would have been way hotter and let old man sleep with me for lots of money and their houses. No, I could have been like a fucking mogul, like a real estate mogul. With some baggage.
Yeah, so look, the sky's the limit there with that one.
Yeah,
Humongous has a question. I believe it's probably similar. Look, he just goes on to piggyback. What would you do differently starting out business, hiring staff, buy different equipment, scheduling programs? Look, we won't, obviously this is just piggyback off the other questions. I think we might just leave that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hugh, I love you, but we kind of answered it. Now we got something here from Trevi. This is a fun one. So everyone remembers the story about how I opened up the door on my nude elderly neighbour that had the sweetest box ever, by the way.
Yeah.
But have you accidentally walked past windows and seen some shit you shouldn't have, or done something you shouldn't have? BJ, this does exclude shitting and poo stories.
Oh, okay.
So, look, I definitely have. I just don't know that I want to say it on here.
Oh, just...
I didn't do nothing, so...
Yeah, give it a whirl.
When I was a younger contractor, look, I can't remember how old I was. I definitely know that... I don't think I would have been older than 22.
Yeah.
So I guess that this story is okay. But yeah, like, I just, like, rocked up.
I don't think it is.
Still no good?
It's not your fault, but I don't think it makes it okay how old you were.
Surely it's better than being 36.
I mean, yeah, it does sound better, actually.
But, like, I just remember rocking up to mow this lawn. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and hadn't started up any gear yet. But I was making myself known.
Yeah.
Like, a family lived there.
Yeah.
And, like, I just sort of, like, glanced into this lounge room. It was like a downstairs lounge room.
Yeah.
And it was just like... I mean, I know she was at school. She wasn't little. She was like a proper senior. Like,
yeah.
She might have only been a couple of years younger than me.
Yeah.
But just like no clothes. Like, she wasn't nude. She had like, and I just remember like.
Did you just bail?
Hey, well, I didn't. Yeah, it's not like I.
Or did you just pretend
it's
like
not
nothing
like
happened and just kept going?
No, I sort of did pretend, but like I just remember just being like, "Oh fuck!" Like,
you're in so much
like
trouble.
just,
The dad's gonna come out and stab
instantly.
you.
So I do remember that, and I do also remember I may have told this story in the podcast that I worked with Shorey at one point, and this dude came on board, and he was like, so it turned out he was a private investigator.
Oh, okay.
And he just wanted some different work in between big jobs that he was doing.
Yeah.
And he had a daughter very young, like when he was like 15 or 16. So he had like an 18-year-old daughter when he was like whatever age.
Yeah.
And back then, I was only like 18.
Yeah.
Or she might have been a little younger.
Score.
Anyway, he used to go away on jobs, like proper private investigative jobs.
Oh, okay.
And so he used to get me to mow his lawn, and like, I mean, his daughter knew I was rocking up.
Yeah.
And like, you hear these mad stories, and like, I'm telling you now, in all my years of mowing, like, all of these mad stories that you see in here, like, it just never really happened to me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't like, I had a residential business at some point, but most of it has been the body corpse. And anyway, but he knocked on the door, and I ended up seeing the chick came out, and she had to unlock the side gate and just straight up no pants on.
Oh.
Like underwear. But like, I was just like what does she want me to do with this information? You know, like, what do I, you know, do I ask for a drink? Or do I just fucking mow the lawn and leave? Turns out that's all I did.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't have fucking... When I was 18, I would have just panicked and been like, well, I can't do this, eh?
Yeah, it was just...
I gotta go.
just put my hand back in my pocket, eh?
I gotta go. Like, fuck this. Yeah.
So, but, you know, like, literally, like, came all the way out this entrance, opened up the side gate, and then did, like, a little... Like, she wasn't just casually walking. She was doing, like, this little bounce walk.
Oh, no.
And I was just like, oh...
Did you ask her out?
No, I did nothing.
You did nothing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Everyone I do have to...
Yeah, I know. I fucking got a number, eh? But no, it would have been panicked.
I would like to point out that her dad was probably, this is no word of a lie, like 6'7", 6'8", and he served, like, he must have done a stint in like East Timor or something. Like, he was fucked up. Like, he was, he used to get a Veteran Affairs paycheck for being like fucked up over killing people and doing shit. So that was probably in the back of my mind.
You would be shitting yourself.
Yeah, because a mate used to work with us as well, and he was pretty loose, and he used to say things, and when we used to work for Shorey, and we were on landscaping jobs, for a week or two at a time, we used to say, all right, we can talk smack, but his daughter is off limits.
Yeah.
And I made that rule because I was like the lead. And I used to say, Kyle, don't say shit about his...
Kyle?
Yeah. I used to say, don't say shit about his daughter because it's just not that funny.
Yeah.
And he was a loose cannon. And I was like...
First time I met that dude, he was wearing fucking shopping bags for shoes, so...
So, anyways, we've all come a long way. He's come a long way.
Yeah, we have, I've only
what about y'all?
No, well, there's been all the shitting stories and blah, blah, blah.
Talk to me about the bus stops.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You told me before, is that story okay? But can I go back to...
I've put BJ in the hot seat so that...
Because one day...
He can be like a tag-along pedo.
Yeah, fuck. One day I was at...
No, let me just say, we both have our own daughters now.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And we are very respectful.
Yeah. I just think fucking my story is going in a completely different direction. So I had a similar story only a couple of years ago where I went to a backyard and obviously I'm there, I'm fucking on a ride-on shooting fucking grass around, and this chick's daughter came out. She was probably, I'd say she maybe
13?
No, maybe was 20, maybe.
Yeah.
See, my fucking watch is telling me I'm too fat to get moving. So she was maybe 20. And she was not wearing any pants. She was wearing socks up to her knees.
Oh.
And a singlet with no bra on. And she was stacked. And I was just like, what's fucking going on here?
I mean, these days...
And I knew that at one stage they were selling ice. So I thought I was either going to get...
These days in life, let's say Lou was with you, right? You would probably say, fuck yeah, Lou, check that out.
I would 100%.
That's the type of relationship you have with your wife.
Fuck yeah. We were at an IGA once and a chick went in and I didn't see her. And she made me wait in the car because this lady had the biggest titties she'd ever seen in her life. And she goes, we have to stay here. I'm like, what for? And she goes, I just saw the biggest boobies I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, okay, let's just wait here then. And she's like, I feel like a creep. I'm like, I feel like this all the time. But she was just like fucking came out and I was like, damn.
I've only got like one other story that really comes to mind. And I remember I used to work 2 days a week for EPMS.
Yeah.
That's Tyson's mob, the franchise mob. And I was working with his lead dude, Steve-O, and we were just like sitting at this body corp, like literally in the driveway. And there was a lady next door and they lived in like a Queenslander that just went up like, it wasn't that high, it was just like maybe one flight of stairs.
Yeah.
And she just come out with a dress. And so like where she was positioned and where we were positioned is really hard to explain, but you couldn't see up her dress. Like initially, she was just standing there, but she was trying to fuck around with this latch and she was kind of like hanging off the first stair. And like, I kind of noticed it and, then Steve-O got wind of it. And then, but he, like, just as we both looked, her dresses just come up and she had no underwear on.
Oh my God.
And it was one of those things where we're just like sitting there, and we're only a few meters away from her.
I can only imagine the look that you gave each other.
Steve-O was older than me. Oh, dude, we were giggling like little bitches. We're like, fuck it. Like, Steve-O's like, fucking Benny, look at this, it's coming up. And, and then, so that was,
I learned very early not to look through windows. I remember when I was maybe 15 or 16, I got up in the middle of the night and I heard something outside and my neighbours were directly across and we didn't have screens or anything. And I looked across and I just saw this fucking, so the fucking next door neighbours were wild. They all shaved their heads, the wife shaved her head. She shaved all the kids' heads. It's like they all had knits. So she just buzzed them all. And she was hideous. it's terrible to say, but she was hideous. And her husband was fucking, like, wild. Anyway, all I saw was her run across naked, and then her husband fucking ran across, and he was, like, probably, like, 250 kilos. So he wasn't really running. And I saw that, I was like, nah, never again. And it's, like, seared into my mind. And she was, like, a stick. And he was, like, it was like a fucking... the boulder in Indiana Jones, like chasing her. So that fucking scared me.
I do have more stories, but I think we'll move on.
Can I say one more?
Yeah, sure.
So I used to work for a mechanic shop when I was younger. Now I don't know if that goes on a lot with lawn mowing, but this chick came to get her car serviced, and like I was just working there part-time after like the school-based work fucking thing. So I'd only go there in the afternoons on a Wednesday, I think, or a Friday. And I was like walking past the opening, like the big car door opening thing. And there's a lady sitting in the gutter, like in the car park, with her legs open with no underwear on. And I went and saw the boss, and he's like, yeah, she just tried to fucking root me for a bill. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, she's got no fucking money. And she's just sitting there with her legs open trying to get someone to fucking give her a free car service.
It just, like, it reminds you, I mean, at least he had some decency, but it reminds me of like...
Well, he fucking should. He was going out with me mum at the time.
I remember, like, I remember when we were younger, we'd be at the skate park, right? And it's just like full mad testicle festival, like just dudes everywhere. And one chick would be like walking her dog past, and everyone would be like, "Oi, fucking show us where you piss from." And you'd look over and you'd be like, "Cunt, have you ever had a root before?
Yeah.
Like, are you that fucking stupid?" And it's the same thing like when a chick walks past a construction site, all the dudes are fucking hollering and going crazy, and you're like, chicks don't respond to this, man.
Yeah.
Well, not the awesome ones.
Yeah, I'm like, does this ever work for people?
Yeah, like...
anyway,
if anyone wants any tips, hot tip, talk to Leroy or VJ.
Yeah,
those dudes, man, they run mad businesses, eh? Yeah. Okay, so Steve has a bit of banter. Have we ever had any major disagreements, and who would win in a bare knuckle fight? Well, BJ's probably got me covered, guys.
I'm not gonna lie, I've got you covered.
BJ, now
if I fell on you, you'd be fucking hard.
BJ is a big dude, but he is deceivingly quick and agile. You used to be able to do a backflip, right?
Yeah. The splits, a backflip.
Yeah, like
for the army roll around. Fucking.
So
shit balance though. Terrible.
Don't fuck with BJ. Whereas me, I'm kind of like all talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll fucking bark at you. And then that's when when I get in trouble, that's when I set the big dog in BJ, and then he just starts fucking ninja kung fuing your ass.
Remember that junkie? He's like come across,
smack attack,
and he started screaming, and then I like popped my head around the side. He's like, "Yo, I just don't like it how like
Midnight Oil.
It's loud." Yeah, Midnight Oil. And he's fucking. I was like, "You look like the Neck Minute dude." Like he was fucked up, big time.
Okay, so Tim Samuel, what's your leadership advice for people running employees, communication styles, how do you look after them mentally, physically, training and so on? Look, I'm going to be brief on this. My best advice, Tim, and we'll get BJ's point of view, but my best advice is you have to be disciplined as a boss. Like if you expect all your guys to rock up on time, you need to wake up in the morning and you need to be ready for them.
Yeah.
You know, I always remember when I worked for Shorey, like he would expect us there 15 minutes early and this dude's still snoring in bed.
Yeah.
And as an employee, I immediately was like, fuck you, Shorey. Like, how can you expect this of me, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Like if you have smoking rules and you're a smoker, you have to abide by those rules.
Yeah.
You have to really set the tone and expect that whatever you're asking your guys to do, you will do yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything for you to pick.
I think, leading by example, setting your expectations and maybe not just setting them once, like keep reiterating the same expectations, like awesome job, like everyone's got good feedback, but we'll work on this or we'll work on that. Make sure you treat people how you want to be treated. I was lucky to have the experience of working for that shit company because I know exactly how not to treat staff. Incentives, just keep them involved in your business. Keep them wanting to come to work. It's easy to find people that don't give a shit about your business. But when you find someone that is actually involved and actually invested in your business, make sure you keep them because it's fucking difficult. Now, I think it's only going to get worse, but there are a few of my tips. I feel like communication with your staff and your customers is one of the biggest things to keep everyone happy and motivated.
Yeah, good. All right, so Taz has asked, he'd like to know biggest failures and maybe a highlight of our career. BJ, let's just start with you. What have you considered to be your biggest failure in your total work career? Oh, let's keep it mowing related. Yeah. Just a failure first up.
Biggest failure is probably it's probably a lack of motivation at the start. I felt like
that's a good one.
Yeah, I didn't have the motivation that
you have now.
Yeah, I felt like I needed something, like I needed one good job to make me realise that there's actually money to be made.
I'm so glad you said that, BJ, because I've been there in both of my businesses. And sometimes you fucking feel like you just need a break.
Yeah.
Like, I need a break.
Yeah, it's like you're working so hard and then like nothing comes and you're just like, fuck, this is just a grind. And then
you need something to give you the taste.
Yeah, it was like one thing. Like I got my first acreage, they wanted me there weekly and it was paying a fucking like a full day rate and I was happy with the rate. And I got that, and from then on, I was just like, "Ooh, that's nice. I like that."
So I'll say that probably my biggest failure. It's not like I can really look. At one point, I've lost like one or two major contracts before by being probably too opinionated, and so it's not as much of a failure, it's more of a flaw that has resulted in huge failures. I think that's probably how I can best answer that is, I think when business is good, then you don't see that many of my flaws, but I just do believe, like I could recognize it myself and you recognize it. I mean, yeah. BJ's always calming me down, but I think trying to be neutral in any sort of political environment is just good for your business.
Yep.
And look, there's going to be pros and cons to either side of it, but I'd say some of my darkest moments in business have been when I've gotten too passionate or too political.
Yeah.
And let's face it, anyone who listens to Skull Sessions or anyone who follows Cash Pro would immediately say, hey Ben, I know times when you have done that. Yeah. Obviously it's recent, we're only coming off the back of it. So look, what would you say has been your career highlight so far? It has to be the SCAG ambassadorship.
It is the SCAG ambassadorship. I think that has just, it's not just changed the way I do my business. It's also changed my life, like given me opportunities I would never have if I wasn't with SCAG. I just think like it's huge for me. The motivation that like get out and just show off the equipment, doing what it does best. I think the Skag thing has definitely been the highlight. Also, buying a house. I had no chance of buying a house in my past job, so buying a house, that was a huge highlight in my career. I know it has nothing to do with the actual business, but
your business allowed you to do it.
My business allowed me to do it.
I've had like a couple of career highlights, that I would consider milestones. I think back when I was mowing, I do believe like my first retirement village that I picked up. Mm-hmm. Even to some extent the 40-acre mow that I picked up, along with at one point I had like this really big industrial park that I used to look after, and I looked after 3 major properties in this industrial park. And look, ultimately, one of my floors kicked in, and that opportunity, we had it for a long time, but that opportunity got blown by it. But I considered it a career highlight because there was a plethora of opportunities there.
Yeah.
We were in with big time industrial developers.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that I talked about earlier on. If I was going to target stuff, industrial parks is probably, like, they call them business precincts now.
Yeah.
So, but one as of late is obviously getting the Catch Pro into the American market. That's my ultimate highlight.
Yeah.
It's something that I cherish, I'm proud of, and I honestly hope. I mean, no one can ever take that away from me now.
Yeah.
So, that's probably
nice.
the be all for me.
Very good.
Do you have we did you right? We
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Simon Turtle. Long time follower and listener and contributor of the Skull Sessions. What would be your best advice to your kids when they start high school and their first jobs?
Wow.
And also sidebar, what's your actually we'll leave that. What's your advice for your kids, mate? This is I like this.
Chloe starts high school in 7 days or something. I don't know. She might even be there. Monday.
Little bastards start earlier now, eh?
It's crazy.
Earlier in life.
Yeah. So
too young, mate.
Oh, I know. I'm terrified. I actually spoke to her yesterday in the car. I was saying, like, you really should look at a few of the things like occupational therapist, physio. It's like these jobs will pay you a phenomenal amount of money. And you get to help people because she, wants to do things where she's helping people. It wouldn't be that horrible of work conditions. Like, if you're working for yourself, making decent money, driving around, meeting nice people, helping them get back on their feet, it would be a hard job, don't get me wrong, like seeing some of the, trials and tribulations of your patients. But yeah, I just think I want her to do something she likes, but I also want her to do something that will not destroy her body like the jobs that have done. And I wanted to have a better work-life balance because realistically, when I was working for someone else, I was working night shift and all that sort of shit. So there was no balance. I was either working or sleeping. So,
well, this is a really good question, and I'm very conflicted in my answer, only because with myself, BJ, we had a lot of mates that, they traveled, they went to Indo, they did a lot of things like that.
And they're still doing it.
And I wasn't really able to do any of that stuff because I was running a business, and I don't feel like I really missed anything necessarily. But it's really tough. Like, I think probably the biggest thing, like, all of my girls are hustlers for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I can see, like, mate, they help me work. They help me work in the yard, you know, like, we've just got them into horse riding and they barely get to ride. Like, they have to fucking work to learn everything. So they're hustlers, I know that. But I think the biggest thing is that whatever the normal thing is, that there's a better life out there.
Yeah.
You know, like there's more to it.
So you're saying like don't settle sort of thing?
I think never be content.
Yeah.
But that is in regards to not only your occupation, but your friends, your potential partners.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how many times do you see like a young woman and she's just with some deadbeat dude that's fucking going nowhere and they're insecure. They don't know that there's something else out there for them. Seeing people content, like, I just hate it.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I don't think be like Rusty where no woman is ever going to be good, good enough. But you know what I mean? Like, respect yourself. All I want for my girls is for them to have a family later on in life and to be financially stable.
Yeah.
And obviously happy.
Yeah.
I don't want them to get pregnant at a young age. I don't want them to obviously get in certain lines of work. And I want them to respect themselves.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's very conflicting to me because I'm not the best role model.
Neither am I.
You know, like sometimes the way I talk or you know, some things I might say about people. I've always felt like I have a bit of a split personality. And you don't want your kids to pick up those traits.
Yeah.
No. So it's tough.
Yeah, it's strange now having a boy as well. Like, that's another reason why I'm like, oh geez, I don't want him to be like unhealthy and shit like that. So I'm like, oh, fuck. Not that like I didn't want that for my girls, but she was just naturally like she dances like 5 days a week, and now she's going to join a school team. But this fucking school thing is terrifying, man. Like, you're putting in fucking kids that are 11 with fucking dudes that can be like 18 and shit like that. I've been watching a lot of fucking. We started watching Law and Order SVU from the start, from like 1999. That shit is wild. So that's part of the reason why I'm having fucking panic attacks. But the good thing is she's a firecracker. Like, she's kind of like me. She doesn't take shit.
The other thing with me, just where it's tough. Look, I guess anyone who's a parent probably feels like they're in a tough situation. But I've got twins, and Mia is very courageous, very outgoing. Like, I remember when she was like 3, we were like, where the fuck is Mia? And she's fucking got this kid's pram. She's like 3 houses down on the street. And like, we finally realised where she was, and like, what are you doing? She's like, just taking me baby for a walk. And like, you've got her twin sister, Macy, who will not cross a road unless I've said it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and then even though they're twins, they're very different natured. Mia, if you asked her, what would you want to be when you grow up? And she would be like, oh, I want to be one of those people like in catastrophes where they go out and they help people, like the flood rescue. And I'm like, everything that she wants to be is like a fucking volunteer job, right? No paying. And if you ask Macy, like, what do you want to be? And she's like, I don't give a fuck unless I'm getting paid shitloads of money and someone's doing all the work for me. So it's, you know what I mean? It's, they both have very different attitudes.
Yeah.
So
it's funny though. Like I've met kids like one of our friends, their daughter comes and babysits Archie now and again, and she's in high school, but she's in like musicals and plays. She writes her own music. I'm like, fuck. Some people just know what they want to do.
Yeah.
Like from a really early age.
Yeah.
Like, I went through like, yeah, I want to be an army man. I want to be this. I want to be that. I had no idea. Realistically, I still have no idea. If I was like to talk to my childhood self, I'd be like, what do you want to do, bruh? Be like, I don't fucking know.
Jeez. But anyway, that was a great question, and not the easiest to answer. I'm not sure how well we did, but
gave it a go, you know.
So, Brendan has asked, what motivates or drives you to succeed in business? Do you have any rituals, etc.? Look, I think my main motivation is probably, I've always been very motivated in anything that I've ever done. And like, I grew up in a family where my parents are together. I would say middle to lower class financially, but it's always been a very safe lifestyle. Like, my dad had a government job for like 27 years. My mum, you know, they got married and they fell pregnant. They did everything that you do, or everything that was normal in that age, they did. And like I said, there's a better life out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's a bad life, like it's a great, secure life. But I think for me, I'm far too restless to ever really be content.
Yeah.
And I think realistically, I don't really know exactly what I want in life.
Yeah.
I'm realistic, but I feel greedy as of late. Like I want more and more and more.
Yeah. We actually spoke about that the other day.
And I think it's human nature for some people.
Yeah.
BJ, we've had personal talks, and it's like, if I could just get one village, and then you would be like, if I could just buy a fucking house, and then, you know, or if I could just have a zero turn, it's, you know, and then it's never enough.
No, it's never enough.
So, do you, in terms of motivation, I would have to say right now, it's probably my family.
Yeah.
But I've also got peers that constantly motivate me.
Yeah.
So obviously Corey Ballard is a huge motivator for me.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, for someone who used to make money with their hands and now you don't anymore, and you're relying on sales, you've got to have your fingers in all of these different pies to secure your future.
Yeah.
So that's what motivates me. What about you, Beach?
To be honest, man, I had sort of the opposite upbringing. Like we met each other pretty young. Single mum, bounced around from fucking housing commission to housing commission. Saw some crazy shit. Realistically, like I just don't want the way I grew up to ever be something that my children know about. Obviously they know that I had a rough upbringing, but I just don't want them to, I should say, experience that. I don't want them to ever want for anything. I'm not frivolous, like I don't fucking spoil them, but it's hard for me to know what's what, because we just didn't have shit. Like, lived by myself when I was, like, as soon as I finished school, I was living by myself. We used to throw parties to pay my rent, like that sort of shit. Like I just don't ever want them to be like, oh, I don't have a place to go. And so, yeah.
And here I am, just like, fuck yeah, let's get drunk to pay BJ's rent. And then I just go back to my bed, my safe bed.
Yeah, and I'd just be there, just by myself, fucking get me fucking jerk rag out. But no, that's a big motivation. So obviously it's for my family. I want to give them what I didn't have, and I hope that they can, follow that. I want the future of my lineage to sort of be on the uptrend instead of where, most people probably thought I was not going to be shit, to be honest. I don't really speak to any of my other family. So basically, it's my wife's family and my mum, and that's about it that I really speak to. And I want them to have better relationships with their family as well. So that's my main motivation for working so hard and trying to build something, is to give them something better to sort of, I don't know, model their lives to. Obviously, like we talked earlier about how to motivate staff and things like that. But yeah, I think basically family. It's nice to have money. It's not a bad thing to have money.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't I thought I was rich growing up as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And I look back now, and we didn't have what I thought we had.
Yeah.
Look, we always had food.
Yeah.
We always had a place to live.
Some of the shit I've told my...
But I think back and I look at our family cars and the way that we used to do holidays and what we used to eat. I mean, I used to I think I used to eat rice every night.
Yeah. I ate rice for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
That was all we had. I remember telling Lou that story and she's like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, there's a poverty line there. Australia's not the richest country. There's a poverty line there. We some of the things that I've told Lou, and she's like, what the fuck? We've cancelled Christmases, and we didn't even, when I met Lou, I didn't even celebrate Christmas. My 18th birthday, I think, spent it alone. You guys came around in the afternoon. I remember you were had your rig, and we had a few drinks, but basically no family. Just things like that. I just don't think that, I ever want that to continue through. But yeah, it's still, I still get very much torn up over this stuff, because even though, I sort of had one of those lives where if I needed a jumper or if I needed school shoes or we always had everything we needed, but I kind of grew up like a bum. Never fucking wore shoes. My clothes were always hell thrashed and dirty. Yeah. Well, Chloe actually asked me the other day, she's like, what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you? I was like, I was trying to think, and I was like, fuck, all right. So grade 7, I remember we were broke as fuck, and there was a free dress day coming up. I remember going to Vinnie's or something and finding these hot pink Nike puffer pants. The jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Fuck me, Dad. I thought I was the coolest kid in town. I wore them to school. You could see through the fucking things. So I'm just walking around, just getting bagged out, and some punches were thrown that day. But I was like, that's probably one of the most embarrassing things for me growing up. Fuck, they were so pink though, hot pink.
We're gonna get ready to put a bow on this, but I'm gonna just circle back to a piggyback question from Steve Tyrrell on, as BJ and I being close mates, have we ever had any major disagreements in terms of business? There is a bit of banter in this, but I only wanted to circle back to it because we do, currently, BJ and I, we live through this all the time. We do have a little bit of conflict in terms of some of the brands that we're wrapped up in. Obviously, BJ is the official Skag ambassador, and for the most part, I have to remain reasonably neutral.
Yeah.
So sometimes, when we've got public comments, hey Ben, what would you recommend in this application? Rah, rah, really, anytime it's not a Skag, obviously you disagree with that.
Not necessarily. I'd say in regards to things like baggers and like walkers and shit like that, I obviously think that the fucking old cougar from Skag isn't going to come out again. So, but no, like I do understand what you're talking about.
It can get tough sometimes.
It can, especially like, you know, we disagree on the 32s about like you think the speed doesn't really make that much difference, but I think if you've got one machine, I think you take it. You don't have to fucking thrash it in little backyards, but if you want to take it into big backyards, it's there to be had. But realistically, I think we play our roles well. I don't think that it comes between us at all. We said straight away, if shit starts to come between us, then can it? I remember that conversation back in the early stages of everything. But all in all, I don't think we've had any major disagreements.
No, so I don't think there's been any major disagreements. There's obviously, mate, we disagree. We talk probably every second day, and on any given day we can have a disagreement about something.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, sort of in terms of the branding and stuff these days, I'm really taking a back seat now, because when we started Catch Pro, we really needed the support of the brands, and it was very important in terms of content, in terms of basically trialing certain equipment, like certain products that we needed to, like, okay, how is this going to work on a Husqvarna? What is this going to work like on a Skag? Does this product fit the new Skag?
Yeah.
There was always that part that we needed to get our head around. These days, not so much. Like, we can, obviously we built those relationships. There's certainly brands that I stand by.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I mean, I care less and less what people are running.
Yeah.
And look, I gotta say, it's probably because of the public. You know, I just get too heavily scrutinised.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're in it for every brand, really. The more mowers that get sold, the more Catch Pros you sell. The more advanced shoots you sell, the more Pro Shields you sell.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, if I had the money to do it, or if I had the, you know, influence power, I'd probably have one mower of every brand.
Yeah.
If I could. Because that's who I am. I like to mix it up. I like to toss it up. I don't like to have everything as one or the same.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it was just one thing that I wanted to wrap up on, that we're both pretty realistic in what we're doing.
Yeah. And I'm not really a brand hopper. I have a lot of battery gear. I think, like, because it's such a new concept, or not like a new concept like last week, but I think me being able to try a lot of stuff, like I had the money, so why not try this, that. I inherited some from the village, like I got some still gear. But, you know, when I first, you know, decided I was going to get Skags, I did all the research. I fucking checked out what I could up here, and, you know, you were doing your research at the same time, and man, it was easy for me, and I'll probably will never change brands unless I need something specific. Like if I need a catching mower, then I'll, you know, realistically, I'll probably just put a rear bagger on a Skag, because I'll probably have some, I'll probably have a fair few. I'm hoping to have a lot of Skags.
Yeah. I mean, for me,
it's an addiction. It really is. It's like getting tattooed.
When I bought my 48 Skag, I mean, I needed a stand on, and I think the only other option in the market at the time was the 48 Bobcat.
What was the price point like on that fucking thing?
Well, it was good back then.
Good
and comparable. I mean, it was better than the Skag back then.
Yeah.
So, like I mean, I maybe could have got a grandstand, but I don't think there was any Graveleys. There was certainly no Spartans. There was no Wrights. Husky may have had theirs. There was no Cub. There was nothing.
Yeah.
And what's that, like 3.5 years ago?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think we bought our Skags.
Yeah.
And then you bought another. You weren't even made the official ambassador until you got your second Skag, right?
Yeah, no.
So,
It was like, it was only really like 2 years ago, I think, that I was made the ambassador.
Yeah. So, it was sort of one of those things like where that Skag have a certain name in America, along with some other key brands, but those other brands aren't here.
Yeah.
Get what you can get.
That's it. To be honest though, like I love the Skag equipment. I think for me, it's fucking done wonders for my business. My productivity's through the roof, and I enjoy every single piece of equipment that I've used, and that's huge for me. The enjoyment I get from using the equipment, but behind the equipment, the people and the fucking community that is around Skag. Like we always hear the Skag family thing getting thrown around. It's legit, it's huge. And when I went to the US, I even got more involved because they are like we were fucking sitting at a table with one of the owners and fucking like the development managers, just everyone who was like key players for Skag was sitting at this fucking table, and I was just like, whoa, I'm a part of something that's like pretty fucking big, and it's pretty cool. And realistically, I got Rob to thank for that, and you sort of introduced me to Rob, and man, it's been a fucking cool ride. So can't wait to see what 2023 brings. Hope it's another good year for Skag.
More money.
More money.
All right, well, I think BJ, let's put a bow on this. We probably went longer than what we initially thought, but we do hope that we answered these questions in detail, and hopefully it was a good listen.
Yeah.
I actually had fun doing this episode.
Yeah, a little bit of insight.
Maybe we'll, if everyone enjoyed this episode, leave a comment in this thread, please.
Yeah.
And if we get a nudge from anyone, we may do it again in the future, and have a different lineup of questions.
Yeah, sweet.
Until then, I am at CatchPro. He's at TBL. We're out of time. Thanks.
Peace.